Hello, David Zritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. Well, hey, I am wearing an outfit that has been coveted for a long time by people ever since we saw, well, these images right here, whether they've been in snapshots, in watch campaigns and advertisings, or yes, in the movie itself. And for the first time for me, I'm actually wearing the outfit head to toe, all the correct pieces. Well, what am I talking about? First of all, if I pull back, I've got the Riverton, the Sperry's, of course, as the footwear. I've got the Tom Ford jeans on. I've got the Omega watch. I've got the Varney sunglasses that he wears. I've got the Barber jacket, and this isn't the covert one. This is the one that was released the same season that I had significantly tailored by Steve the Tailor to look and be representative of the one in the movie. And he did a great job. We've done a whole discussion about this jacket. Today is something else. It's not just to talk about the whole outfit. It's to talk about this, a simple cap. Some people would call it a baseball cap. Some people would call it a brim cap. But this cap right here is extremely important because there's been a hunt for it for some time. And now it's been discovered. It was wonderful. And of course, the Bond community came together to really connect with this. And now we know what the hat is. Now, hearken back for a second, if you will, to an interview that I did with Siddharth, where she said this. So I
Yeah.
love how you kind of wove that together. And by the way, because we're all detectives with this type of wardrobe, as you can see, I feel like I have your wardrobe here. The blue hat that he wore looked very Steve McQueen when he's on the
Yeah.
boat. What is that blue hat?
So first of all, the Steve McQueen reference is great because
Oh,
that's exactly like there. It's exactly when very early on in our collaboration, we talked quite a lot about Steve McQueen actually, and we specifically talked about like off-duty Steve McQueen, and this idea of off-duty, which literally Bond is off-duty when we first come back to him in this, but also just that what I like about off-duty is that it also sort of begs you to accept that duty has sort of governed most of his sartorial existence,
that's
right?
true.
And to come off of that, that there's still the elegance and the kind of precision and intuition he has about style that's not so fussed over. It's just sort of innate at this point. And no one would, I think, say that you look at, there's this wonderful series of photographs of Steve McQueen, kind of on vacation in Northern California somewhere. And those images just sort of exude exactly that spirit that we were trying to, they're undeniably masculine, at ease, comfortable,
Yeah.
sexy, all those things, right? So it just felt like a good parallel for how we wanted to start his story out. In this I keep wanting to say episode, but of course it's in this film. And your question was, sorry, I've kind of gone on a little bit of a
Oh,
tangent
sorry, the
there.
blue hat.
Yeah. Oh, the blue hat. Yes. Yeah. So again, that decision was born out of knowing what he had to do in that moment. He has to get from point A to point B without a lot of. I think the thing with him is we never really wanted to have him turn up in a scene or have a scene expose him for just being a fashion plate. Like that would never
Mm.
work for the Daniel Craig version of Bond. Right?
Oh, it was so, and I don't even know if
Yeah.
you realize there was an entire, uh, let's call it a community of people that are use Bond as a style template, young, old, men,
Yeah.
women. And it's wonderful because they can feed off of your hard work and then reap the rewards afterwards, which is why people are so
Right.
finding out what that blue cap is about is like this maniacal thing that's out there right now. But
Oh, really?
oh yeah, well, is it
Yeah.
Burberry? Is it there's all these questions going on. It's been
It's
crazy.
not Burberry. I actually have to. I'd
Oh,
have to look up what it was in my notes. But it's if I'm not mistaken, it's really it's not as luxurious as
We
some of the
like
other
that too.
choices.
Yeah, that's one of the connection points. I mean, the fact that this is a very Steve McQueen outfit. You see a similar one that Steve McQueen wears in the Thomas Crown Affair. And the fact that Siderat and everybody else, Daniel Craig, was trying to go for that Steve McQueen, very classic look. They pulled it off. I mean, this is the typical kind of, I wouldn't say playboy, but certainly somebody that dresses a little bit sharply, a little bit military-like. This is so representative of that outfit. But the hat itself, as she discusses, is not a brand like Burberry, and it's not a brand like some of the other expensive ones out there. It's Carhartt. And Carhartt is a brand, it's a working brand. It's what we call people that, have to do a lot of manual labor. They're going to get dirty. They want something that's very durable. But Carhartt's become a fashion brand too, because things like Dickies and Carhartt, they've become embraced and accepted in the fashion and style community as one of their own. Carhartt is one of their, and more importantly, Daniel Craig wears this brand and wore this type of hat. And this is how it was introduced, obviously, into the film. Now, I am wearing, excuse the hat head, I am wearing this right here. It is a simple twill hat. We'll leave a link to this hat. And sorry, it's canvas. It's a canvas twill, which is kind of the same thing. But let me kind of read the inside. It's Carhartt. Built to serve and protect hardworking people. See, that's what I mean. It's literally for people that like work with their hands and things like that. So made in Vietnam, it's 100% cotton, exclusive of trimming, etc. But this hat, you can see right here, has had some customizations to it. First of all, they took off the front logo. Let me take this out of the bag so you can see this. All right. Don't rush, don't push. There's plenty for all here. This is what we're talking about today, getting the final pieces of the outfit. So you see it's got that leather brand right there. It's got the stickers right here. And so we had to take this off right here, this emblem, and you can see on the back it's got the Carhartt in kind of like I would say almost like a gold brass embroidery. That's how it was in the film, maybe even a little bit darker. So they used a Sharpie to do that. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to show you how to get this. Again, link is in the description below. How to get this looking like this. How to get this the right look. Let's take a look. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're nice and comfortable and you have all of your tools at hand. You're going to need just a little bit of water. This is like a cooking show. You need a little bit of water. We're going to go into your ink in a second, but I like to use an X-Acto knife. Some people use a seam ripper. Seam rippers are fine, but I'm just, I'm used to using an X-Acto knife. Be careful. It's sharp. You've got your hat and you've got Sharpies. Now let's talk about Sharpies, because initially people were talking about using navy Sharpies, which there are, to do the back of that. But I used on my first one a navy Sharpie, and then I used some of these blue ones, and the ink wasn't dark enough to really adhere and drink in, because these things just drink up all the ink. So I used a black Sharpie, and I have a feeling in the film they used a black Sharpie as well. So we're going to use a black Sharpie, and let's get underway. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take off, obviously, all of these stickers. That you can use a fingernail. I would not use a Sharpie in this case. These are sometimes a little bit old, so the stickers do stick. See how they adhere? You just want to peel that off. Okay. And I know I'm being very simplistic and obvious here, taking off stickers and things, but we're trying to be completist. And we're doing this, by the way, real time, because I do want to show you, okay, how simple that is. Now you've got a hat, you've got this thing on the top. Some people pull those right out, but what it does sometimes is it actually rips the fabric. So what I'm going to do is use an X-Acto knife, obviously moving away from myself. Good knife safety is important, and now we've removed that item right there. So now we're left with a very nice hat, And what we're going to start doing is start picking away at this stitching. Now, a lot of people have different techniques for this. My technique is simply to go and take the X-Acto knife, slip it into a ridge, and you can see how I've locked it in there, and then just, again, move it away from my body. Go to the next one, move it away from my body. Go to the next one, move it away from my body. Now, this seems like it takes a long time. What's nice about this is if you do it right and take your time, not only is it a little relaxing, I swear it is, because you can't rush it, but you're going to have a very nice, neat area. You're not going to, some people like to cut under the badge. What I don't like about that is you start to bite into the fabric. So take a look at what's happening here, and you see that the stitching around there is already starting to loosen, and we spent just a couple seconds. Now this hat that I'm doing right now is a customized job that I'm doing for none other than Harris Thomas from Dressing Like Bond. He doesn't deserve this. He doesn't deserve the amount of time I'm putting to this. He does. He's a nice guy. I'm happy to do it for him. But what we're going to do is we're going to continue around this whole thing in the same technique. By the way, I'll show you kind of a point in time. As I lift up this badge, you can see kind of the residual underneath. That's going to be taken care of really easily. You're not going to see all that pretty shortly. All right, so I'm done cutting off the badge. Here's what the badge looks like. I'll chuck that. But we've got all these nice little strings around here that we'll just kind of pull out like so. Some may still be a little stuck in there, but they'll pull out pretty easily. I'll show you a little trick in a second though. There's one that's just being stubborn. So what I'm going to do is show you how we rectify that. We're going to pull that out. There we go. Get rid of all those strings and little nubbins. All right, so you're going to notice that there is a nice healthy square around here. You sort of see that in the film, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our water that we had over here. I'm just going to dip my fingers in it like this. Dip my fingers in it and just very lightly go around the square. Now, this is so easy, you're going to laugh. There is no technique, but what I'm doing is I'm going against the grain this way, against the grain this way, up and then down. And I'm not using a ton of water. I mean, that's literally all I'm going to be using. But take a look at what's happening already. Now, this hasn't dried yet, but you can see that it's kind of getting rid of the square, but you don't want to get rid of the whole square because that makes it screen accurate. Take a look at mine. You can still see that square, but what it does is it sort of brings down the stitching areas where things were popped up, and you'll see in the long run that that's going to look amazing because of that. And just let it air dry. Don't hair dry it or anything like that. We still got this part. So what are we going to do? This is the easy part, but it takes time. So I'm not going to sit here in front of you the whole time, but get as fine as a point as you want. I kind of like this. This is a fine, ultra fine. So it's ultra fine on one side, fine on the other. But I take the fine part like this and literally just start like a child coloring the different parts. So I just did the C. That's it. And I'm going to go through the whole thing. What I did was I let it wait and then do it again, and I actually gave it a third coat, and that's how I got that nice darkness that kind of blends in very nicely. So 3 coats of the Sharpie and you're on your way. All right, not difficult at all. Just a little bit of a do-it-yourself moment, a little bit of patience, and voila, you've got a screen accurate hat for $16. And that's the amazing thing about this. I mean, look, you could argue the covert jacket, certainly the Tom Ford jeans, the watch, they're an investment. And they are. You know, let's not mince words here. But a $16 Carhartt hat off of Amazon, to me, you can get that Bond moment. Imagine you just slip this on when you're raking leaves or keeping the sun off your head when you're watching the kids play soccer. And suddenly you have this escapism moment that we all like to talk about, where you've got this $16 hat. Or do what I do, buy 2. The reality is that you're going to rip up one and you're going to want a second one anyway, just to have it in good order, good working order, like Bond sort of had. Anyway, I love the connection. I love that Siderat and Daniel Craig made a conscious choice to put an outfit together that looks nautical, that looks military, that fits appropriately like Bond would wear. It's not schlubby. And yet there's something very classic about it. It almost has that Kennedy, like I said, Thomas Crown-like affair that we can all embed in our everyday style. This isn't difficult. This isn't, for example, a trench coat that we've got to really make a leap of faith with wearing something like that. This looks like you're in the crowd and it looks very natural. And one thing I want to bring back to my personal choices, this is how I like to dress. If this was never in a Bond movie, I would pick out a hat like this. In fact, I did some logo emblazoned hats that look exactly like this. I would wear this type of barber jacket. I would wear these type of gray jeans, and I had a pair of Sperry's. So I'm digging this. And even the Tommy Bahama shirt, would I have worn a silk black Tommy Bahama shirt? No, but let's face it, when he's in the boat, this puppy is covered up. So there you have it. Anyway, we wanted to revisit this Bond boat outfit, which is certainly causing a lot of discussion in the Bond sartorial community. And even if you can't get the whole thing, $16 hat investment, I think you're going to be happy with it. All right, well, I got to get off to Cuba. Somebody named Paloma needs to see me about something. I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk soon. Take care. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to be up on the latest from the Bond experience, just click on this subscribe and subscribe to our channel. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information, plus some exclusive content. And by the way, speaking of content, here's something especially for you, just because we know you. Talk to you soon.